Welcome to the Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show, where we make plant-based cooking easy. I'm Jill, and today we are making the most delicious creamy polenta and balsamic glazed Brussels sprouts.
It's the all-free whole food plant-based cooking show.
Today's show is brought to you in part by Scindian Natural Food Products. Scindian is a family-owned and operated Australian company celebrating 20 years in business, making a wide range of affordable plant-based gluten-free products like burgers, sliders, sausages, and more. No preservatives, stabilizers, emulsifiers, or additives. Just clean, minimally processed, whole food ingredients that never compromise on flavor. In the US, you can find Scindian products in many independent health food and specialty grocery stores, and in the freezer aisle at select Meijer stores, or by ordering online at meijer.com. In Australia, you'll find them online at scindian.com.au and at your local supermarket. Scindian, guided by nature. Okay, so today I have something kind of special for you. This is a special recipe made for our supporting members. So inside of our membership community, because we are a member-supported show now, I have an idea wall where I keep all of the recipes that I'd like to create. And once a month, I have our supporting members vote on which one of those recipes they'd like me to work on next. So this recipe is, well, originally it was creamy polenta with roasted veggies. And I never really worked out the roasted veggie part, but just recently my daughter made this delicious Brussels sprout dish, and I thought they would go wonderfully together. So this is one of the perks for being in that supporting member community. So I'm gonna make that for you today. So we are gonna start by heating up our liquid for the polenta. And this is a pretty large recipe. I cook for a family of 4, so this is more than enough for a whole meal plus leftovers. So if there's not that many of you, you can always cut this in half. So I have 4 cups of vegetable broth, and this is just a low sodium vegetable broth. And you always want to check your vegetable broths because a lot of them contain or add oil, which is not really necessary. So it's really best to get ones that don't have oil in them. And there's quite a few brands out there. You'll just have to look at your local grocery store and look at those labels. And then 4 cups of water. And I'm just gonna put my burner on high. We wanna bring that up to a boil. So that's gonna take a bit. So we're gonna move on to our vegetables. So I have a large yellow onion cut up here, just in chunks. And we're going to start caramelizing these. So we're not going to be using oil to saute them in, so I'm just going to add a little bit of water. And that's a really hot pan. And we're just going to start caramelizing these guys, which overall it takes probably about 10 minutes to get them to where we want before we add our Brussels sprouts. So I just added a little bit of water just to keep it from sticking to the bottom of the pan. And then we're gonna add our balsamic vinegar. Now this is gonna give it this amazing punch of flavor. You're just not gonna believe it. So there's 5 tablespoons all together in the recipe, but we're just gonna add them gradually as we go. It's kind of just like deglazing for the pan. So I'm just gonna start with 2 tablespoons. So those onions can really just soak up that balsamic flavor. And while these are caramelizing, I'm just going to add 1 more tablespoon to that while they're cooking before I add the Brussels sprouts. So now we just kind of have to wait. We just have to babysit the onions and wait till this comes up to a boil, and then we can get on to making that creamy polenta. While we're waiting for that, I'd like to share with you some background on our show. The Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show is crowd-funded, which means these free weekly recipe videos are made possible in part by the generous patronage of our supporting members. We create this show to share all of the delicious plant-based recipes we use in our own family kitchen with the hundreds of thousands of viewers just like you who tune in each month from all over the world. Our supporting memberships offer great perks like access to our ebooks and in-depth courses, including our 28-day Plant-Based Made Easy course, where we offer a step-by-step guide to making the switch to a fully plant-based diet. If you love our content, please join us on our mission to share this life-changing message with the world and become a supporting member today by following the link in the description. Okay, let's get back to the show. Okay guys, so our onions look beautiful and nice and caramely. So we're gonna add the remaining 2 tablespoons of balsamic. And we're gonna add 1/3 of a cup of water. Stir that up a little bit first. And this is still on medium high. We're gonna throw our Brussels sprouts in there. With a little bit of pepper. Cracked pepper, you know, one of my favorites. I love cracked pepper. Okay, we're gonna just stir this up just a little bit, kind of to get some of that liquid onto the Brussels sprouts. Okay, and then we're gonna cover them and we're gonna cook that for about 8 to 10 minutes. So that's kind of according to you, what texture you like your Brussels sprouts. If you still like them a little bit firm, it's probably gonna be around the 8 to 10 mark. But if you like them a lot softer, you can always cook them for more like 15 minutes. So while that's cooking, we're gonna move on to our creamy polenta because this is gonna take just about the same amount of time that it will for this to finish cooking. So our liquid is up to a boil and we're gonna add 1/2 cup of nutritional yeast and 2 teaspoons of Bragg's aminos. But if you don't have Bragg's aminos, you can always use like a low sodium soy sauce or a low sodium tamari sauce. That'll work just as well. You just need that salty flavor in there because polenta is a little bit bland. Okay, and then I have 2 cups of polenta. So polenta really is just kind of a rougher cut or rougher ground cornmeal. It's not, cornmeal is a little bit finer than this, but polenta's got a little bit of a larger grain, and that's what you want. So you have to make sure that your liquid is up to a boil and use something that you can pour out of because you want to be whisking while you're pouring, because if you don't whisk while you're pouring, it'll get really clumpy, and you want this to be creamy and smooth. So here we go. And your burner is still on high. So keep that whisking going. Keep it going. And while it's cooking, you want to just keep whisking. You know, and check it every couple minutes. Whisk it again. And as this cooks, that's going to cook up really nice and thick and creamy. And it takes about a good 15 minutes. All right, guys, I think we are done. Ooh, look at that. So if you want to come in and take a little closer look, this is how we like them. But just like I said, you can always cook them a little bit longer if you want them a little bit softer. You can add a little bit more balsamic. Actually, I added a little bit more water just to keep them steaming because they started to stick to the bottom. So if you ever have that problem, if they start to stick, add just a little bit of water, put the lid back on, and you're gonna be just fine. Okay, so next with the polenta, it's nice and thick. If you want to come and take a look at this creaminess, it is beautiful. And it smells absolutely delicious. So I'm gonna get a bowl and I will meet you at the table for a taste. Okay, on for the tasting. So look at this polenta. Creamy, golden, oh my gosh. That's just beautiful. Brussels sprouts. Now, I would love to change your mind about Brussels sprouts if you're just terrified of them. I think this recipe could change your mind. Okay, on for the taste. This is a little hot. This is a super hearty meal. That polenta is just comforting, warm, and the Brussels sprouts still have a little bit of crunch yet to them, but then that really nice tang with the balsamic vinegar. You're just gonna love this. So make sure you give this video a like, and I'll see you next time.